What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a very cool video for you guys. We are going to be discussing exactly what you told me. What is the next big board game that's coming up? Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. If you appreciate the videos I make every single week for you guys, just like this, you can give even $1 a month. There's a link down in the description below. Thank you so much. Out of the way, thank you guys for participating in this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the post, and we're gonna just go through. I took notes. We're gonna go over a lot of cool games. Many of these I have never shown on the channel before. Some of them are looking amazing. Some of them I'm going to be playing at Gen Con, like no doubt about it. Like there's some really cool stuff. I've done some digging. Let's dive right in. So first of all, if you didn't know, I do have a Facebook group. It's not necessarily my Facebook group though I created it. It's actually just a open Facebook group for people that want to be able to talk about anything in the industry, and as long as they stay kind of respectful, that's pretty much free game here. And over 1,000 members already, so welcome to everybody that's new. There's a link down to that in the description of the video as well. Feel free to join. We'd love to have you. I asked, what's your next Kickstarter backing? What's the next big one? 132 comments later, I've come up with a list. All right, there's a lot to go over. So let's go ahead and find out. Starting with Lords of Ragnarok. Yes, of course, the PM of that is going to be huge. There's going to be a lot of people playing into that Pledge Manager. And if I know Awaken Realms, which I think we all do, there's going to be more stuff in the Pledge Manager than was on the campaign. It's what they do. It's how they roll. I'm expecting plushies. I'm expecting, also, but like they resin prints and like they do some wild stuff in the Pledge Manager. So it's actually kind of exciting to follow their PMs and see exactly what's being added and what cool thing is there or not. Like they had that big, super cool like King Arthur mini in the previous one, and when they did the Tainted Grail, I believe. And so like it's really cool to see what they do. Or the cats and stuff like that they tend to do. It's really cool. So yeah, that's going to be huge. So as you guys know, this was a sequel, and it blew up. It blew up. 33,000 people backed this, and that's just going to go up. You know how Awaken Realms are. They're very successful. They know what they're doing. The audience knows what they're doing. There is a big understanding there on what they're getting and the types of games that they like, and kind of a mutual respect thing that's going awesome. And they do some fantastic work too. So very, very excited that people are going to get that and love it. While the games they make typically aren't my cup of tea, I know a lot of you guys love them, and yeah, Pledge Manager is going to be huge. I'll mention in my news videos, of course, but we got to keep moving on. How about Thunderstone Quest? This one is actually on Kickstarter right now. This is cool because it's a dungeon crawl, but without the minis, which is, there's not a lot of those out. This has cards, this has meeples, and this has Mike Elliott's name right there. Talks about solo, talks about co-op. There's a lot on offer here. This is, I think, the second or third campaign. I don't know which one. I know they've done at least one other Thunderstone Quest before, and so there's a ton of content, but no minis means it's cheaper too. You're not spending $1 bajillion, and all those losers paying for all that shipping, like me, for minis, you won't have to do that as well. The shipping won't be as bad. It's a smart product right these days. That is for sure. But I mean, they have a really smart campaign here by the looks of it. They got like a starter set here, like $50. $50 for a starter set of a dungeon crawl? What in God's name kind of voodoo are you doing here? How is that possible? Well, you get rid of the minis. So anyway, yeah, this is a thing that's going to be big. Obviously, there's already 3,000 backers, and it looks like that's probably going to be final. 16 hours to go. So there's a link down to everything I'm talking about down in the description below. At least anything applicable. If there's kind of, I don't want to send you guys off on a wild goose chase, right? But if there's something like this, that's linked down below. So if this looks interesting to you, you might want to pause the video, go do that, and then come back. And if you enjoyed it, if that got you something, go on and like the video so that I know that I did a good job showing you a cool product. This is all driven by you guys, by the way. You guys mentioned this to me. You guys are saying this is what's coming up. This is the big stuff. Castles of Burgundy Special Edition, 1.3 million, and it just freaking launched. So it has 18 days to go. Dear Lord. They actually did, I think, a little bit more since when I first looked at it. They added a royal pledge, which is sun drop, essentially for 150 if you want like the ultimate pimping. And I don't know why they changed the visuals here. Like, I don't know if this is necessarily different than the game. I think this is gameplay on, and this is like the all in with sun drop. So you get like these other upgraded bits and stuff like that. I see neoprene mat there. Totally pimped out. If you like this game, you go and get it. I've been a big proponent of that. It's how I treated Conan, for instance, where I spent hundreds of dollars on Conan. But I know I love the game and I know it's going to get played. I bought DC Deck Builder to see if I liked it because I want to know before I spend a ton of money on it that it's going to get played. So often we back things we don't even know. You guys can know. Do you like Castles of Burgundy? If you do, go for it. Go for broke. If it's going to hit the table, it may as well look nice, right? Okay, moving on from that, we got Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin. This is going to be massive. It's going to be huge. Okay, guys, there's no doubt about it. 1 million plus day one. Pretty much, like, they would have to pull a Disney Star Wars level of bad sequel when it comes to, like, botching this. Like, this is a guaranteed success. You have to go out of your way to subvert expectations or whatever other junk you want to do to try and mess this up. And I ain't gonna do that. I mean, if you look here, you can see some of the different art. This is Tainted Grail in a nutshell. Like, whatever the heck this junk is, yes, that's what people expect. Or the freaking skeleton spine dude. I mean, that's what the world pretty much lives off of. So this is going to be really big. It's going to be huge. I believe it's standalone. I'd have to reread here, but I believe it's standalone. There is some information here. New standalone story campaign that does take place, I believe, in the future. So helps to play the first one, but otherwise, I think it's actually like a 2.0 too. So you can get the first one probably with less grind. Essentially, I think is the main fix there. But yeah, going to be massive, of course. All right, Company of Heroes is also getting a second edition. So they're going to do a reprint with new stuff. What's new in second edition? They have bonus components, more, pimping out of different things that you can do, which is super cool. I dig that. New 2.0 missions, improved legacy missions, more units, more tanks, bigger battles, and climactic finishes. The last two seem silly, but essentially more options available to pick from. And then, of course, greater unit and faction balance. So they just keep iterating on the balance, which is super helpful. I don't know if there will be an option to get essentially like updated rules and cards or whatever it is that you need for if you don't want like the new stuff, but do want the updated stuff. Don't know. Some assault rules for a rule set there. And, of course, a whole bunch more. I'll link down to this below so you guys can see it. No pretty images to look at, but suffice it to say, still looks super cool, for sure. All right, I wasn't in dark mode. My apologies. I'm not going to re-record that. We're just going to keep going on in dark mode now. Townsfolk Tussle, gonna be huge. You guys are all about this. I'm all about this. It's a really, really fun game. I really dig the roguelike aspect of it, and I'm excited to see what they bring in 3 expansions. This one right here, they're being very kind of hush-hush about, so we won't see what's going on here, but it looks like there's the town's on fire, and somebody's leaving with some nice diamond ring there and stuff like that. So we'll see what's coming up there, but that is something that I'll share as more info comes along, of course. Harakiri's PM is open, and so that's a big deal because you get minis like this freaking guy, beautiful minis. Here's like all the like crossovers and stretch goals and stuff like that. This dragon thing, you can probably maybe see him. He's right there. He's awesome. He's amazing, of course. Really, really fun dungeon crawl here that I really did enjoy. And I mean, again, the minis are just wild. So there is a weirdness with the pledge manager. So it's kick and go, which is not something you might be used to. And if you want it, you have to give them your email, which is stupid. I don't like that. Kick and go needs to change that. Let me see your product. Don't hide the buy button from me just to get my email so you can email me about different things. I'd rather see your product and then get an email. Not like, I don't know why you would make a storefront that hides the ability to buy things with me having to put something in first. I think that's silly. But either way, you put in your email there, you'll be able to see all their stuff. You can still get Harakiri, all that goodness. That box art is still glorious. I would have a poster of that if I could. All right, next up we have Illiterati. I had not heard of this before, and when you guys mentioned this, and so I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? And honestly, it looks really cute. Like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it's like Scrabble with cards. And then after looking into it a little bit, I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of like Scrabble with cards. But there's a lot more gameplay to it. And I think it's really cool to be able to see something like this and almost treat them like cards, right? There's a little bit more there. You can see there's different symbols and stuff like that. So it just makes it more interesting in my opinion. But it was something, again, I'd never seen before. This is their biggest game they've ever done, by the way. 7,000 backers, over $320,000 raised, and that late pledge is open. If this looks interesting to you, again, there's a link down below, of course. Moving on, we have Kingdoms Forlorn, Dragons, Devils, and Kings. Of course, you guys are all about this. The pledge manager is actually on GameFound, I believe, and so you can go there and get all of that stuff, which would be super cool. Look, guys, I put my money where my mouth is, okay? This looks super neat. It's pretty much Dark Souls, the board game, if that was actually like really, really Dark Souls. When it comes to like the feel of it, I think it's got that down, that kind of quirky, grim, dark, high fantasy, kind of difficult boss battler kind of thing. It just looks so freaking good. And they still, to my day, have, I love this picture. I always talk about this, where you want it to look like, look, this is how much crap you're getting. Look at all the stuff you're getting for this price. Cram that into the photo like this. This is fantastic. The only thing I think that could have made this better is putting a frame there and having it go out of the frame, right? Almost like it's bursting out of the frame, because you don't get a sense. Like, a lot of times we'll order stuff, right? Like, I ordered Massive Darkness 2 all in, and I ordered it and it looked like a lot of stuff, I guess. And then you get like, oh my gosh, this is so much stuff, right? When you got Solomon Kane, you didn't realize you were getting that much game. We're always surprised. Don't have it be a surprise. Show it up front when people are like, oh yeah, dude, look at all this crap I get. All that's in the game, dear Lord. And then all these stretch goals, look at all this stuff I get. It's crazy. Dude, okay, guys, like some of these characters here, like the freaking frog dragon, heck yeah, I am all about it. And it just keeps going, guys. There's so much stuff here. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be super cool. So anyway, yeah, there's all of this. Kingdoms Forlorn, that's going to be massive, of course. And then, no brainer. Again, instant million, day one. Easy. The Elder Scrolls, Betrayal of the Second Era. This is by Chip Theory Games. And so there's not a lot of info. They have a little YouTube video there. I've shown, this has been, old news here. We got a box here. It doesn't tell us a lot there. You can see the hint of a beautifully stitched, edged neoprene mat going on there with some wonderful coloration. You can see them painting an eyeball. You can get all of that and more. Again, I'll link down below. You can subscribe and get more details and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be big. It's a instant success. Easily done. I'm excited for it, actually. Batman, Gotham City Chronicles Season 3. You guys are saying that this is going to be big, and you know what? It is. It's a hidden big, though, right? So it's not even at quite $1 million yet, and you'd think anything Batman would hit $1 million. The reason not is because a lot of it's actually in the pledge manager. So what you're going to want to do is go down to here and at least pledge that $1. That's exactly what I did here as well. I'll look at the PM and see what's available at the end, like most people, because they're going to have a storage solution for Season 2. They're going to have all the expansions, of course. They're going to do a lot of reprints and stuff like that. So you can do that. You can also just go ahead and pledge for the core pledge if you wanted to as well. Or the new stuff, or, you do whatever you want. There's a whole RPG here, which is super cool. But I think most people answered for the Season 3 board game, trying to get as much as they can of the Batman game, especially now that it's solo and co-op in every single scenario. That's super cool as well. Moving on, we have RuneScape Kingdoms. Of course, look, guys, there was 12,000 people waiting for this thing to freaking launch. It's going to be massive. It's launching in just a few days on the 31st, so stay tuned for that. But either way, I'll link it over to here for you. Moving on from that, we're going to keep going. Arcs is live right now, almost at $1 million, 8,000 backers, and I love the art style. I didn't comment on that the first time I looked at it, but I really do love the art style. I had a conversation with a patron about how to play this game, because I think they do a fairly good job here. They have a how to play, and then they do show you a little bit of points here, and then they do link to the rulebook, which is appreciated, right? That's nice. And the print and play and tabletop simulator. That being said, they don't tell you even how to beat the game or what type of genre it is. Like, is this a 4X game? Is this a worker placement? Is this an engine building? Like, what are the common things here? I don't know. How do you win? I don't know. What's the objective? I don't know. And so that's kind of unfortunate. As you can see, it's a very small campaign page. So a lot of this is being funded based off of the external stuff like this, how to play, the rulebook, stuff like that, which is great that they have that. And then, of course, faith in the community or in the company, because they've done things like Root and Oath and all these other big things. So there's a lot of like cult following going on here too. So feel free to dig in as much as you need to find out what it is. But people are excited about it, and that's not for any small reason at all. So yeah, that's something you're going to want to look into. Next up, Primal the Awakening. Again, disclaimer as always, I am working with them. They are paying me to consult on their minis. We are on like around 3 or 4 on some of these. They're going to be amazing, guys. They're going to be really nice, of course. But I did this well before that happened, where I bought the all-in. And I think I even had a little quoting. Yeah, look at that #1 quote right there. Yep, I just love every part of this game. I really do. It was a really fun game. I just listed it in games that surprised me, actually, because it has a weird board you would think wouldn't work well. It actually works fantastic. So anyway, Primal the Awakening, giant minis, giant monsters, boss battling. You get to fight them. You get to jump on the bosses and start attacking them while you're on there, and you get thrown off, and they are catching things on fire, and it's a wild, crazy time. Super cool, for sure. Next up, Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Again, you just can't get enough of this. Into the Unknown. That they were Kingdoms Forlorn, now they're Aeon Trespass Odyssey here. Guys, this is still like a game I am super excited about. It's right around #1 on my most anticipated list. It has been for a long time. I love the Greek setting, of course. I love all the different systems here. I just talked about this to death in my previous video. So if you're tired of me talking about it, don't worry, I'm not going to too much here. But needless to say, I go into detail around why I'm excited for this, why this game looks super cool. And it does look super freaking cool. They have these amazing minis. They have a Metroidvania map. They have beautiful art. They have an interesting story. They have a cool combat system. You can turn into a god form like a freaking Super Saiyan. You can get a card that just says you died. There's all sorts of lovely things here. Super duper cool. Super excited for this one. Next up, Tanares. Now, they just mentioned Tanares in the comments, so I'm assuming, though, that they mean the Tanares Adventures game, the actual sequel to Arena, the contest, as opposed to the Tanares RPG. It might be both, and that's fine, too. There's nothing wrong with that. RPG books are awesome, and I love them, and these look like a fantastic collection of them. But there was a ton of minis and new bosses. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He was free. They were giving this guy away. A freaking Terraskew thing. And it was a weird version of it. I'd never seen anything like that. But they had such an amazing amount of content in this. It's just wild. They've already delivered a lot, and they're working on the rest of the stuff. But there's a lot of stuff to deliver. So anyway, that pledge manager was like really active. You can still click late pledge here, so go ahead and do that. Again, link down below if that interests you. Sankokushin, guys, you guys have mentioned Sankokushin since I started covering it last year, and it hasn't died down yet. I've been in talks with the developer, actually, and so hopefully I'll be able to show some stuff off here soon for you guys. And kind of get the ball rolling on that. So expect that in the future. If you are excited for Sankokushin and you want to see more content, more coverage of it, this is the channel you might want to stay tuned to. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that, because otherwise YouTube will forget to remind you and forget to tell you to forget all about me, and I'll miss you. So yeah, you can always do that too. Anytime you have an update that starts with the biggest danger in life is that the food of humans is all made of souls, you start going like, what in God's name did I get into? You got into Sankokushin 5 Sacrifices. That's what you got into. This thing is wild. Beautiful art. Love the art. You have this crazy stuff where plants are growing out of people because that's a thing. You get like crying, bloody people. You get a freaking moth boss with a really cool face. I really like his head. I don't know. I think he looks kind of cute, actually. But then there's like some weird, wild stuff going on there too. Like, I don't know. Guys, this game is always just, it's way out there. Beautiful board, by the way. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Again, they need to make that a poster. Just saying. Next up, Secret Unknown stuff. Escape from Dulce, or Dulce, or Deuce. I don't know what it is. I covered this a long time ago. I'd forgotten all about this game, like completely, which is mind-boggling. So this is talking about their next campaign. They are going to be coming out again. They do have a Google Drive thing here. I'm not going to show this to you. You guys can go and click that, take a look at what's going on there. But there is some stuff there. As you can see, the first 3 chapters of a book. But to give you an idea of this game, it reminds me of Destroy All Humans, the video game on the PlayStation 2, if you remember that or not. It was goofy, kind of like this. And again, this is very goofy and silly, and I love the theme. It just, I really did that kind of like, almost like 50s, picture askew America. And then it's like, oh, but there's aliens and stuff like that. But then this takes that up to 11 and then expands it out. Here's a 500-year-old samurai you can be, because of course you can. Or, hey, this guy, which is essentially like, almost like a tall Paul, the alien from the movie or something like that. Or these kids with their like laser guns, or the two-headed cow. I mean, it's, guys, this game's wild. I love the theme. I really do. So I'm glad somebody else is excited about it as well. Moving on, Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. This just recently ended. The Pledge Manager will be coming up. It did break $2 million. Congratulations on that. This is a sequel to the previous Sleeping Gods game. So if you liked that, you'll probably like this. My number one comment on this is, and it may seem superficial, I don't know. It's a very pretty game. Like, everything I see about it is just beautiful. It's just, look, we're spending all this money on this physical product. I want it to look nice. I want it to feel nice. I want it to be pleasant on the eyes and when interacting with it. And this looks like it has that for sure. So yeah, the gameplay looks interesting, and it looks like a fun kind of game where you could really like sink a lot of hours into, I feel, and really kind of immerse yourself in that world. I know I would want to, just because again, it looks so pretty. So there's that. Next up, of course, Oathsworn 2. Guys, the wait list on this thing has been insane. It's been wild. It's been so popular. And that's because it's this amazing, grim, dark, icky, muddy, bloody fantasy boss battler that does boss battles really great. You're rolling a lot of dice. It's like a push your luck mechanic on that. So you're doing a lot of that. You're immersed in this story written by actual New York Times best-selling authors. So it's not just like, some nerd with a keyboard. It doesn't read like fan art. It reads like an actual novel, which is fantastic. Just a amazing deal. It was really, really cheap when it came on there. I did want to update real quick. They need some help with shipping, and the chip jar, $53,000, and 89% of people have actually done their shipping. So congratulations, guys, for coming around as a community and supporting the companies that show us respect. We get a lot of companies that don't treat us the way we feel like we should be treated, but it's great to see that it goes both ways. That if a company is treating us with respect and is trying to accommodate and, doing the best they can to treat us right, that if they have an issue, if they falter at a time or whatever, that we can treat them right too. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome. That's all I'm going to say on that. Moving on, though, again, the second print is going to be just huge. Maladum Dungeons of Enveron. This is the sequel, or the sequel. It's a fantasy version of Core Space. Now, I know the moment I said Core Space, my Patreon Discord is going to blow up, where the fans froth at the mouth and start posting on it right now. They're typing right now on my Discord saying, oh my gosh, you said Core Space, you should play it. I know. I get it. I'll play somebody else's copy probably. Maybe. I don't know. It's really brown. This is the fantasy version of it. I think it's going to do better. Fantasy always sells better. This is on crowd.com, by the way. If you speak French, this is a site you should frequent. These people put together so much great info. You can see, again, brown on brown on brown on brown on brown on brown on brown. Anyway, but it has this really cool looking terrain, which is awesome. Really cool looking minis. I mean, look at that. The terrain is freaking killer. It really, really is. There's the official logo of it. You can see the mock-up of it there. And I did notice that they posted my video of last time. I went ahead and translated this. I don't know if more people signed up for Crowd, but if you do speak French, or even if you don't and you just want to like look at cool pictures, this is a site I go to a lot of times. These people put together some great info, so you should definitely go over there. not just because they posted my video, because that comment's saying how like I've shown crowd off like 3 times. Like I do it all the time. But Maladum does look very interesting. It is by Battle Systems. They've done terrain for years. They know how to do terrain. And then of course now they're making board games for the terrain, and they're actually pretty good. I've heard nothing but great things about Core Space, and I'm excited about Maladum too, and I hope it's very successful for people. All right, this is going to be massive. This is Warcrow. I think I mentioned this when it was first announced and then didn't touch on it. So I'm glad I have a good excuse to kind of cover this again. This is by Corvus Belli. They do stuff like Infinity. The Infinity range is kind of their big thing, though this is fantasy based. And yeah, it's gonna be big. It's coming out in November. They do say they will have a playable game at Gen Con 22. I want to see if I can get some time with it there. I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, November 2022 is when it's going to be there. And then it's also going to be Gen Con 2023, where they'll actually kind of like release it, and ideally then you're even able to play it. So that's kind of the hope. I do have a little tease here. This is one of the first miniatures they've shown of it. So this is the Mart is kind of what they're called here. Yeah, love their weapon. I really do dig that. I also like the kind of the long kind of striped or stripped tassel like inner part of the cloak. I think that's a very cool idea. And again, like Anastyr, we're getting a lot of bells. That seems to be a thing lately, is all the bells and like the hair or you know, somehow there, but they even has it from the weapon. So they have a lot of bells. I don't know what's going on there. We'll have to find out. Now, the best one for last, guys. Robomon. I know I've mentioned this like I think only once before. I was a big fan of Robopon on the Game Boy back in the day. Loved Robopon. It was like a robot version of Digimon, but I really liked the different Robomon. I liked the theme and the story, and I just really did dig it. And that's pretty much what this is. It's Pokemon, but with robots. Now I am going to show you a little bit here, and there's actually a QR code for you guys to scan. So this is the battle setup essentially for this. So it looks like you have, you know, again, you have like the grass here, and you have your 2 guys here, and it looks like you can have up to 3. So, but one's kind of hanging out for now. And they're like these circles, and it looks like you're fighting against a square. And that's kind of how you know the difference. And you set up the little map, and then you have all the dice and the different card abilities that you can do here. Now, one of the cool things, and you see bite, boost, repair, slam, fireball, overcharge. So they can do all these different things. Again, I love it. I love all of that. But it's super thematic too, because what they do is they have this little QR code that has some music for grasslands. So the different areas that you're in, you can go and scan that, by the way. It works. I'll let you go ahead and scan that on the screen. It actually has like thematic music for each area. So in the grasslands, you're going to hear this music, and you can just scan it there and you can play it. And I think it's like a 22-minute thing. So it'll last you like probably the whole session, I'm assuming. So you kind of get that music playing while you're in the grasslands. Love it. Love the idea. I think that's great. Guys, this is everything pretty much you listed. There were a few others I didn't quite get to, but I spent a lot of time trying to gather this out for you guys, and I think you guys made a great list of things coming up. I think it's super exciting to see what you guys are excited about. Is there something you would like to add? I asked my Facebook group, there's about 1,100 people in there and some change, right? About 1.1K. I assume, hopefully, by the end of this video, it's maybe at 1.2, 1.3. We'll see how many people of you join. You're welcome, of course. But that's a very small subset of what's watching this. What would you add to this? I'm actively interested in what you guys are interested in, because I want to make videos for you guys, and you guys have some great tastes, and you guys turn me on to a lot of really cool games, and I'm super excited to see what you have to say. So let me know if there is something I missed, or if you disagree with something. That's how I know what to cover. That's how I know, okay, yeah, y'all have you're interested in that. I'm interested in that. Let's have a details video. Let's have a versus video. Let's have this. Let's have that. Let's reach out, see if I can get a prototype. Maybe I can get a review for you guys. All of that is driven by you guys. Thank you so much for being an awesome community. It looks like we're going to have a great year plus of gaming ahead of us, of crowdfunded games, and just looking at all these cool, fun, exciting new things coming in the line. And with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye, guys.